The ref stops the game whenever he wants, when he thinks it's at the end of it. So don't go to complain. He has the right to do so. We didn't show the reason why the free kick where a goal was disallowed for Colombia. I didn't see the offside. I'm sorry. Even with the slow motion, I didn't see the offside. Very surprising.
So a few surprising pointers in this one. When it comes to Group D, both sides progress anyway. Brazil have booked their spot in the knockout stages, but they will be without Vinicius Jr. in the quarterfinals, and Colombia are the group winners. Let's now welcome in Gustavo Hoffman, because we do want to focus in on Brazil right now, if we can. Gustavo, that was a good game to watch, as you've just seen in the studio. Lots to talk about, very entertaining, maybe more so for us because we're not Brazilian football fans.
Yeah, hello, Keo. Hello, Steve, Frank, my friend Chaka. Well, it was more entertaining for the Colombians because Colombia was much better than Brazil. The Colombian team played at least 80 minutes better than Brazil. We saw the highlights of the match, but between these highlights, and you can check the first minutes and then the latest minutes, between that, Colombia created many chances. We saw the statistics. We saw the expected goals. Colombia created more chances. In the last minutes also, Rafael Borré had an incredible chance to make 2-1 to Colombia. Yes, it's true, there was a penalty for Brazil at this scene with Daniel Munoz and Vinicius Jr., but I cannot say that Brazil deserved the victory, that Brazil deserved a better result. Colombia was the best team on the field. And why is Brazil not playing so well? Brazil had the second match at Copa America. They really played well. The first not against Colombia. The Colombian team was better. Brazil is living a new process with Dorival Jr. They have only 7 matches with Dorival Jr. And we have to remember that Brazil, the Brazilian Football Confederation, lost the year at 2023. Brazil really lost this year. So this new process is beginning with also a transition from the old leaders. We don't have anymore Casemiro there. We don't have anymore Thiago Silva. Neymar, who is not a leader by example, but he is the technical reference of this team, is not playing. So we're living this kind of transition with a new manager and a terrible year, probably the worst year in the history of the Brazilian national team, 2023.
When it comes to the next game, no Vini Jr., as we just saw, Gustavo. What does that mean for Brazil?
Endrick. This has to be the answer. Dorival is taking a lot of care with Endrick. The Brazilian fans want Endrick to be a starter from the first match already. But I think that now, without Vinicius Jr., you have an easy solution. You can move Rodrigo to the left and place Endrick in the center. So you don't have to make any magic here. You can also play with Rafinha or Savinho on the right. You can have Paquetá in the middle of creating the opportunities ahead João Gomes and Bruno Guimarães, but for me the answer is Endrick. He's just a kid. He will complete 18 years old, and when he completes 18 years old, he will be a Real Madrid player. But I think that Vinicius made an amazing match in the second match against Paraguay. Against Colombia, he and the whole team didn't play well, but of course that Brazil will miss Vinicius because he's the best player of Brazil nowadays.
Now, I know you said there can be no complaints about the yellow card in that sense on the pitch on the night, Stevie, but does it seem harsh, a rule like this, that with 2 yellow cards in the first 3 games, you then miss and are suspended for a quarter-final?
Well, it depends how you look at it. I mean, you get booked twice in 3 games, then you're clearly not in control. I mean, that's how they look at it. And at the end of the day, they look at it in the sense of, well, you know, if we just get rid of this, then they think that it gives players license to kick people. And I'm telling you this because I've asked, when I was in MLS, I asked all the officials, all the board members, the referees committee, everybody, and that was the reason for suspending players picking up yellows in the playoffs, for example, because they don't want players to be able to have a free kick at somebody. That's it, and that's exactly what they're doing. They don't want people to go out and kick another player and get away with it. And so that's why they have this rule, whether you like it or whether you don't. Personally, I don't like it, but that's why they do it.
Let me also say, in this incident, I think Vinicius Jr. has to take that yellow and walk away as quickly as he possibly could. Vinicius Jr. is coming head on to James Rodriguez. And at first look, I thought it was an elbow. I thought Vinicius would see red. As it turns out, it was more the forearm, which is why it was yellow and not red. But I thought there was absolutely no excusing that from Vinicius Jr. Not that I've ever seen Vinicius Jr. do anything like this, but I thought, take the yellow and just walk away without complaint, because it's so easily. Another official could have seen this completely differently. And for the context, I have to offer the caveat that Gustavo is Brazilian, so I understand his disappointment. But I thought Brazil were the better team. I thought James Rodriguez, arguably their best player on the park, certainly for Colombia, and he was the difference. But I thought pound for pound, and certainly in that first half, I thought Brazil was the better team. But then Colombia managed the second half better, knowing a draw would see them finish top of the group. So I kind of saw it a little bit differently than Gustavo did.
I don't agree with Shaka, because I really think that, maybe there are more talents, but the rhythm of the game, the pace of the game was given by the Colombian. The energy that they put on was given by the Colombians. Yeah, well, it's a pity to see players, diving for almost nothing, complaining like they had broken legs, every 30 seconds. That was kind of boring. But overall, I like the energy of the game. But I felt that the Brazilians had to suffer against the Colombian team because of the way they and how compact they were all together. Marquinhos said that they had to work more and to increase their performances if they want to go and win the CONMEBOL. But at the end of the day, I felt Colombian more precise in what they wanted to do. Even the coach knew exactly what to do. Don't forget that Carrasco and Borre, who had the chance to score at the latest minutes, were coming from the bench. So that was everything was spot on for the Colombian, nothing much to say. Brazil, because they are Brazil, we expect much more.
Okay, can I ask Gustavo a question? Yeah. Gustavo, let me ask you something. Something happened last night that I'm not new to this planet, as you might know.
Really?
The first time in my life I have heard a team playing against Brazil and they're Olean. Colombia were Olean Brazil. Yep. I have never seen it in my life ever before. Has it ever happened to you? Have you ever heard that?
No. I think that what is happening nowadays in South America, the other teams, except Argentina, of course, that Brazil and Argentina are at the same level, were always at the same level. But I think that the other teams look now to Brazil and they don't see Ronaldo, they don't see Romario, they don't see Cafu, Roberto Carlos, they don't see Neymar. And I think that these teams now, they don't, I don't know if the word is fear, but they, of course, that they respect Brazil, but they, at least they play without fear against Brazil. And Colombia, they know that Brazil, collectively nowadays, is not a good team. Brazil has a group of excellent players. But Colombia, in my opinion, they don't have this kind of excellence in their group of players, but they are a stronger team. Talking about collectively, about football, they are a better team because their coach is there for a long time. The players know each other. Brazil, as I told you, is living this kind of transition, is looking for your way after a terrible year. So I think that everybody now in South America look at Brazil and think, man, we can win them. We can beat them.
Okay, well, let's talk about Brazil-Uruguay next coming up. Can Brazil go all the way in this tournament, Gustavo? Has anything changed on your opinion after what you've seen from them?
No, of course that Brazil can go all the way because Brazil, as I said, has a very talented group of players. Vinicius won't play, but you can have an extraordinary match of Rodrigo, for example, and Rodrigo can win matches at this Copa America as he has already won for Real Madrid in La Liga, in the Champions League, with so many decisive goals. We have a group of talented players, but the team must be stronger. Dorival is trying to make that. I think that also this is a problem for Brazil, because Dorival Jr., this is his first international experience. He's living this kind of experience for the first time. He has a long career working in the Brazilian league, of course, that also playing Libertadores, Copa America, but his experience was always in Brazil. Now he's living this kind of experience and playing at the highest level against the strongest teams of the continent, soon against the strongest teams of the world in the World Cup. So I think that he's also learning from this moment. And I can give you an example. In the first match, when he sacks Vinicius in the middle of the second half, you don't sack your best player, the player who can win the Ballon d'Or this year, in the middle of the second half. Yes, I know that he wasn't playing so well, but Vinicius can win matches for you. And I think that the way that Dorival looked at the match at that day was like a club manager, not a national team manager. And he has to learn it fast, because the pressure in Brazil is so high.
Yeah, and it feels as though Gustavo Hoffmann is definitely feeling it as a fan.